Call the meeting of the Mobley City Council to order. Please stand for the pledge. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey.
Present.
Brubaker.
Here.
Timmons. Davis. Kaiser.
Here.
Thank you. Have you seen the agenda for this evening? Are there any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
A motion and a second.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You've had a copy of the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any corrections or additions to last meeting's minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any visitors you'd like to recognize, Mr. Crane? All right. Welcome, Shannon. All right, we'll move on to public hearing, receipt of bids. Number 2, receipt of bids for backhoe for public utilities.
Yes, this is for a backhoe for our utility department. It's under the state bid, and it's a state bid contracted price of $116,282. We
All
ask
right.
that these bids be accepted.
All right, questions about the bid? Anyone? I know I asked about it being a state bid. Does that automatically mean that there isn't any other competing bids to go along with that? Because it's one accepted by the state.
Well, what the state of Missouri does is they buy so many of these throughout the year that they do a bid, and then everybody that bids on it is ranked and tabulated, and then they decide who the low bid is.
Okay.
So that's what, it's already been through the bid process.
Got you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the bid?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid is received. Number 3, receipt of bids for the dump truck for public utilities.
Yes, Mayor, this is another piece of equipment for the utility department. It's a dump truck, also on the state bid for just over $96,000, and we ask that this be accepted.
All right, questions about the bid for the dump truck? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval? And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The bid is received. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions, we'll move to number 4, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance approving a First Amendment to purchase option agreement with MGB Investments LLC, and I ask to be read for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to purchase option agreement with MGB Investments LLC.
All right, you've heard the first reading of the ordinance. Is there any discussion?
Am I correct that it's only at a cost of $10?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any others? All right, hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to purchase option agreement with MGB Investments LLC.
Okay, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey.
Yes.
Brubaker.
Yes.
Timmons.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 5, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting a charitable donation from Plum Rose USA and authorizing certain actions.
All right, heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
And it has been seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting a charitable donation from Plumrose USA and authorizing certain actions.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. Moving on to number 6, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing and accepting a change order with Biddle Professional Services for additional infield dirt mix. I ask that it be read once for passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing and accepting a change order with Biddle Professional Services for additional infield dirt mix.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Mr. Austin, Mr. Kaiser, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Quick question was this, number one, is this additional 25 tons, was that at our request, or is that because of a miscalculation during the bid process?
So essentially, when all you can do is estimate it going in, so it ended up being 425 ton instead of 400, which is about as close as you can get when you're estimating loads of dirt. Any project, whether infields or construction, and bringing in dirt or rock, you're guessing, and to be within one load is pretty good. But essentially, we could have gone without that extra load, but it would have meant you didn't have the right grade. And after putting that kind of money into it, we wanted to finish it off right. So the short answer is it was at our request to make sure we did the job we intended to do.
Okay. And the second question I had was this a fairly close bid where this would have put them to not be the lowest bid, or was it pretty?
No, I'd have to look back at what the other one was, but there was considerable daylight between the two.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? All right, hearing no further discussion, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion to approve and a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. Moving on to number 7, a resolution adopting a health insurance stop-loss policy.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution adopting health insurance stop-loss policy and health insurance plan options for the city of Moberly, Missouri employees for the year 2021. Has to be read once for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First and only reading.
A resolution adopting health insurance stop-loss policy and health insurance plan options for the city of Moberly, Missouri for the year 2021.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Kaiser.
I just want to clarify, excuse me, I want to clarify that we would have seen if we went with a high deductible policy, and had we not done that, we would have seen a considerable increase to health insurance, is my understanding. And this is not a cost savings per se. It's not like we're paying less this year versus last year. It is, instead of a huge spike, we have a smaller spike by offering this. Is that assumption correct?
Yeah, and it get, the more people that shift to the high deductible health savings account, the less that spike is.
Okay. All right. And so, I mean, the HSA, I'm excited about it. I think it's a long-term good thing. I saw the packet with the information that's going to be presented. I think it's good. But I want to clarify that. So, all right.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been motioned, and is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kaiser. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 8, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a Case 580 SN backhoe. Asked to be read for passage.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a Case 580 SN backhoe.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Number 9, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a international dump truck.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
And the motion has been seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase an international dump truck.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 10, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appointing Shannon Hance as city clerk effective November 16th of 2020. I ask it be read once for approval.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appointing Shannon Hance as city clerk.
Okay, you heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second? And motion has been seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Congratulations, Mr. Crane. You want to swear?
Shannon, if you just want to stand here. And then
I state your name.
Shannon Hance,
Do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications prescribed by law for office of city clerk, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the class to which the city of Moberly belongs, and the ordinances of the city and faithfully perform the duties of my office.
I will. Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Ms. Hance. Welcome.
Welcome.
We would do a lot of handshaking, but in this pandemic time, we'll pass on that tonight. Okay, moving on to number 11, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Surveying and Mapping LLC for utility GPS mapping and data collection. That's to be read once for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First and only reading.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Surveying and Mapping LLC for utility GPS mapping and data collection.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Is there any discussion?
Question?
Mr. Brubaker.
Brian, do you recall what kind of time frame that this company has to
I don't
complete the
remember the
project?
exact time frame, but it's usually they want to get it before spring, so the leaves are off.
Okay, so it'll be just a few months then?
Yeah, before spring. comes,
Okay, thank
should-
you.
Are we eventually going to offer access to GIS or that type of system on our city website?
It is available.
It is currently? Okay.
Now, there's certain features you can't access, but there is a public access.
Okay. Okay. All right, so there's been read, no further discussion. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And is there a second? It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution pass. We're at number 12. I'd ask for a resolution to table.
I make that motion?
All right. Is there a second to table the motion?
Second.
To table the reading of the resolution. It's been seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? That resolution is tabled to the next meeting. So we'll move on to number 13, the appropriation resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $249,838.43.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $249,838.43.
All right, I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the city of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. Submitted Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer. Any further, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that takes us to number 14, Department Head Monthly Reports. And guess we'll start with, are there any questions, discussion of Department Head Monthly Reports? Mr. Kaiser.
I have one, and that's, Tom, what's going on with, what's the update on the sidewalk project on Woolley Street? I see that they did make progress with the good weather lately. There's still a lot of holes up and down Woolley Street.
They are still, we talked to them today, and they're still confident that they can get done by the end of this week, which is the deadline that they currently have with our extra work that's been on them. There was an issue with a water line being buried deeper than what they were anticipating on. They're having to have a vac truck come in. So that there might be some additional time on that part of it, but it shouldn't impact the delay on or timing on the sidewalks. I don't think they're going to make it, but that they're saying they will.
Okay, does that include the intersections like Union Avenue that's been closed and up by the old Sonic and so on?
That includes everything from Coach Street to out by the East Outer Road. So, I mean, there are about 31 openings that I saw ranging from small one-panel pours to intersections as of today.
And did I hear you say that you expect most of those to be resolved by the end of the week?
The contractor feels like that they will have it all those portions completed. I don't think so, not unless they bring in some more crews. But right at this point, they're saying, when speaking with them today, the consultant spoke with them today and relayed that back to me, that they're still confident that they can meet their deadline
Okay.
for substantial completion.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hodge, I have a question on my sales tax report. Make sure I understand it right. I'm looking at, on the 1% general fund sales tax analysis, in the column where it's got the monthly change, it's saying for the November reporting, it would be up 5.56. So that's a comparison from the previous year's month, correct? So compared to a year ago, it was 5.56 higher, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so then the right column of that is still saying year-to-date, the overall is still up 10.89 or whatever that number is.
Yeah, so that's comparing it for the
Okay.
same 5 months from
So
the
this
prior
is the
year.
first month since July that our year-over-year has only been up in the single digits, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have questions about the monthly reports? Mr. Davis.
Mr. Sanders, I'm looking at the proposed diagram for the extension of Silver Lane, and it's kind of I'm kind of confused about where it's going to come out on Morley. Is it going to come out somewhere in the middle of the city barn maintenance area, or is that where it's, is it going to come in south or north of the road that goes into the city barn now?
It will be to the south of the existing road. There's a lift station if you come out, if you're driving out Morley Street towards the street barn. That lift station is on the immediate right before the entrance of the city barn. It would be just past that lift station, on the just past the break or the curve straightens out into a straight roadway there. And so, if you're also familiar with our drop-off shelter for the compost area, there's like a little shed, check-in shed that we used to man out there.
Yes.
That road is what would be the proposed road of Silver Lane. So it would basically split the compost area off from the building facilities if the road's ever built.
We'd still offer compost service and
Yes, it would just be, the road would be separating. It would be better for us because that way we could lock the facility at night and we could leave the compost area open for access because it would be separate from all of our equipment and buildings and things like that. So you could have the compost on one side of Silver Lane Extension and you could have the buildings on the other side of Silver Lane Extension.
and this hinges on the whether or not the what is it, Howe and Associates gets their grant money and
They are, at this point, they are just providing the right-of-way, the easement, I guess, up to our city property so that if there's ever funding to construct that, we have access to complete that road over to Morley. They're not planning on building that as part of the housing development, or do we have funding secured to do it either. But we have, this way we're just getting everything in place to have the right-of-way if that does develop.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a question, I guess would be for Chief Washam. Looking under your notice for November, it says engine number 305 will be going to STLF Diesel Repair in Rennick. Can you explain who that is and which, is that your frontline engine or is that a backup or so you run your backup unit until that's back? Okay. All right, anyone else? Okay, so we will move on. We don't need a motion for that to move from monthly reports. And if there's not anything else or anyone else here to present anything to the council, then we will consider a motion to adjourn to work session. And there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned, and we'll move and open the work session part of our meeting and move to that agenda and start with number 1, review of tourism promotion service agreement.
Yes, Mayor, this is our annual agreement for our tourism services, and that is with the Chamber of Commerce. Megan and Michelle are here, and they can talk about their program for 2021. But this is an annual renewal for that agreement.
All right.
Hi. As you can see on the budget this year, it is lower than what we had in 2020. We made that revision in July. We also are not sure that we'll receive a Missouri Division of Tourism grant for marketing this year. It depends on if funds are available. We did receive an email that said there's potential for a grant in January. But we have to be approved in the application process. If we do receive it, the number that was proposed to us is considerably less again because it's a January to June grant cycle. So that would be $4,125 in marketing. And that is the extent of the agreement. Do you guys have any questions? We're working on an outline for marketing for January to December right now, based on the $13,000 marketing budget before we find out if we can apply for MDT grants.
Do you mind just going through the rest of the expenses there and giving a little explanation of those?
Sure.
Contract labor, administration fees?
Yes, so the admin fees are for training. The contract labor covers Michelle's salary and part of our administrative person in the office. And then there is a contract labor also in the budget, and that's Steve Powell, the tourism consultant.
Sure. All right, thank you. Anyone have any specific questions about this?
I do.
Sure.
Mr. Davis?
Does the 85,000, is that an increase from last year?
No, this is a reduction,
It's a reduction from what amount?
15%. And this is based, this position is covered by the bed tax that the hotels generate.
Right.
And so we were anticipating a loss, a reduction in what that generated. So in July, we revised our budget and reduced the contract. And so this is reflective of that reduction.
Mr. Kaiser?
Mr. Hodge, have we seen a decrease in that fund that she's referring to?
It would be on your sales tax reports.
Initially, it was down because of, COVID, the initial COVID outbreak, but it's rebounded pretty nicely, and I think both the motels are staying pretty full consistently.
Typically, we don't see as much of a travel-related reduction at our hotels because they are filled with contractors and railroaders and traveling businessmen.
Given it seems to be rebounding, do we need to relook at that amount, or are we comfortable with that amount?
Yeah, we look at that amount every month, and if we continue to see that increase to where we feel like we can increase that budget, we'll want to probably come back and try to do an amendment to get some more funds for marketing, is the plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I think that's the portion of the budget that's definitely drastically hit. We use all those dollars for marketing that we can, and our marketing budget has been really low compared to other, cities. And ads are super expensive. So, a full-page ad in Missouri Life is over $6,000. So when you only have a $13,000 marketing budget, it really is a big impact.
I guess you had already made this adjustment, but given the travel patterns that have possibly changed for people, are you focusing it into different directions because of what you perceive to be a good market or something that's going to stay slow for a period of time?
Yes, we are. So we're most attractive in Moberly to day trippers. We know that from our tourism plan. And so right now we've changed our messaging to be we're open, we're safe, and we're rural. So we're just reminding people of the opportunities that we have right now, which is a really safe and open park system and restaurants that are still functioning and shopping opportunities for everyone where you can choose mass or not. So that has been the change we've done in marketing.
I see. And do you have a tourism committee in the chamber or through this that
We
looks at
just-
some of these things to help you, or is it just you
Tourism
two?
consultant Steve Powell is who we refer
No, I
to.
meant like the local members.
There's a
that-
no, there's not a functioning committee within the chamber. There's a tourism commission, and then we receive guidance from our tourism consultant, Steve Powell.
I know we have the tourism, but
Right.
I was just curious as, to other outside chamber members that might give you more ideas on where to, look at it. So.
No, but we do look at data from the Missouri Division of Tourism, the Missouri Tourism Association, so Michelle stays up to date on the rest of the trends within the state. Missouri Convention and Visitors is a bureau, I don't know. We're a member of several associations who send her information monthly.
Sure. Sure, I understand. Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you. Mr.
I just
Gibbons.
want to mention that I think your outreach on social media has been very effective. And some nice pieces put together that showcase our town. And I think contribute to that day trip with townships.
Right. Yep, thank you. We did use some of the grant we received from the Show Me Strong for PPE and different things. We also use that to push safe messaging. So there's a billboard in Columbia right now that is showcasing shopping in Moberly. There's an ad that just ran in Show Me Missouri magazine because of those advertising dollars. And then there's a radio push that's been going on several different stations and Facebook ads. So we've just been pushing safe messaging right now. And that's what that grant was for.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that takes care of number one. We'll move to number two, discussion of 2021 budget update and wait for wage adjustment.
Yes, Mayor, during the budget process, we did budget a decline in sales tax and discussed what the effect on the budget was going to be, primarily with regards to wages. So what we've been doing over the last month is really massaging our numbers and looking at the positive indicators and some of the negative indicators. So Matt and Greg are going to go through some of the finances. They've provided you with a memo that's in your packet that they'll be referring to. So with that, I think Matt's going to start it off.
All right.
The purpose of my memo there is just to make you aware of where we are standing on the budget so far. Every month you receive a budget update as part of what Greg gives. But if you just were to take our annual general fund revenues and divide that by this amount a year, you'll look and see that we'd be behind. And so what I did in these individual exhibits was to say, okay, there's some things that are going to hit later in the year. And so I'm going to take those out so we can get a real accurate estimate of where we're at right now compared to where we expect to be. So in Exhibit 1A with General Fund, right now we've had revenue of 2.541 million, and but we haven't had any of our property tax, any of our personal property tax, real estate, and then we have budgeted transfers every year as part of the budget. Those are put in there in case of a shortfall. They haven't been made in previous years, but I took those out because they haven't been done and they are contingency in case we need to at the end of the year. So if we take our original budgeted amount, 7.9 million, and take out those things that haven't come in yet or haven't been needed yet, we get to an adjusted amount of that 6.4 million in your budget. And so if we take those amounts that haven't come in, we're expecting, obviously we're going to have our real estate start flowing in the next month or so. We are, compared to where we expect, $181,951 ahead in revenue when you consider what expenses we've had to date. So that's an explanation of what we've got in front of you, and then I've highlighted some of the big expenditures because we are over your 33% of expenditures for the year, but you have to remember we have to pay our annual liability and work comp insurance right on July 1st every year. That is a $314,000 hit to general fund right on day one. And And so we play catch up the rest of the year on that. But right now, expenditures are slightly over budget. There's several things like we have to pay right at the beginning of the year. Those usually even out. But even taking that into account, this kind of explains why, even though sales tax is well up, we haven't seen an increase in fund balance. But typically on an average year, fund balance and general fund will bottom out about this time of year before we get our property tax. So that's an explanation of the general fund side. Then there's exhibits for Parks and Rec. Similar in Parks and Rec. They're just slightly ahead of expenditures. Theirs are a lot more even throughout the year. You also have an exhibit there for public utilities. I didn't do the adjustments for public utilities because they aren't seasonal as general fund. In general fund, we get $1 million plus in real estate tax right at the beginning of the calendar year, but public utilities is overall pretty steady. Their revenues are above projections and their expenditures are below projections, giving them quite a bit in excess of budgeted amount for so far this year. Finally, you'll have an exhibit there that illustrates the 911 fund, and in large part due to the transfer being made on a monthly basis from general fund, the budgeted transfer, it also revenues exceed the budgeted, net revenues exceed the budgeted amount for that year. So that's the income side of it. Any questions about the revenue side of it?
I guess on the emergency 911, when did that all change, or are we still just looking back into the previous year where we had all that capital outlay? Because did we cut our labor costs of dispatchers, or how was that all of a sudden black when it was
did,
red?
But the county the last couple months has gotten big checks from the state. So if you see, did you put the $70,000 one in? Last 2 months we've generated about $70,000. So those funds seem to they're starting to roll in to the point where the last budget report I looked at, we've generated about 200,000 of the 250 that we estimated in that 911 fee. So we're way ahead of schedule.
Okay.
Now, we do think that some of those payments that are coming in are back payments from previous months. So it's not like we think there's $70,000 every month that's going to start rolling in, but it's definitely picked up.
Okay, thank you.
It's really good to hear.
And last year, we weren't making that transfer from general fund until the last 5 months of the fiscal year. So it really bottomed out at this time last year.
Well, we ended the fiscal year in July with, I don't know how you ended the counting on it, but since we spent all the money on the upgrade, we had a great big $250,000, $300,000 hole, right? So we just went on with that number. We're still really at a deficit for partners there, but okay.
The exhibits 2A, unless there's any other questions about the revenue numbers.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Mr. Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with the transfers that you haven't had to do. I assume that's a good thing, that we haven't needed them. But you're saying, did you say that in the latter months of the budget year, after January 1st, we may need to make those transfers for some reason or another?
We are not planning on that. That has always been, those have always been a part of the budget, that we budget those transfers in case we are well below where we intended. And so we haven't had to make them in the past. They are just there because we have to present a net zero for our general fund budget. And so those are, in essence, balancing to get that budget to zero.
So the 181, 950, 148, that represents money that we had not anticipated getting when we first budgeted for the beginning of the fiscal year in July?
That 181 number is representing, here's the revenue we were expecting at this point in the year, and or the net revenue, meaning revenue minus expenditures. Here's where we're at. We're actually 181,000 above what we are expecting to be at this point in the year. And so in essence, that's a surplus comparing where we expected to be at this point in the year. We're $181,000 above that net revenue.
So when we first did the budget at the beginning in July or end of June, we were anticipating a 5% drop in sales tax. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes,
Okay.
that's what we budgeted.
And that did not occur up to date.
We are actually well above. We're 20% as of the end of October. We're 20% above budgeted and 12% above year over year. Now, November was slightly back, which you already have that information because we already received the November numbers, but we're still well ahead of year over year, and we're still well ahead of budgeted.
And that, the dollar amount is 181.
That's the net amount, taking
Net amount
revenues
that
minus
we're-
expenditures, where we expect to be at this point in the year.
Okay, that correct? I'm sorry, Brian, I can't.
That's a best guess estimate based
Yeah.
on the assumptions he's made.
I understand.
Go right ahead.
So I've also included in your packet there some estimate, or some just cost estimates of what different salary increases would cost the individual departments. Your Exhibit 2A shows what percentage increase would cost the individual funds. It is about $40,000 per percentage for general fund, meaning an across the board 1% increase is going to cost overall, that's salaries, benefits, everything that goes in, total bottom line out of general fund, an additional cost is going to be $40,000 per percentage. And so you have that, you have a 2%, 4% put in there just to show you this is what total dollars would have to go in from general fund above what's budgeted right now to fund that amount of increase. You also have the same for Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is about $4,000 per percentage. You also have the utilities fund, that's about $12,000 per percentage. And then you have the other funds, which is all 911 dispatch, and that is about $2,500 per percentage increase. Then once again, that is not just the cost of salaries, that's everything there, and you can see that's broken out by all of the different amounts.
So when you're looking at the whole thing, you got to add all this together to get the actual total dollar amount.
Right, and that's
Oh.
what's represented in that total.
I mean, all the different funds together is what
Oh,
I'm
yes,
saying.
and that's at your very, on page 18, you have the total, so a 2% increase across all funds for all employees would cost $115,000. So we're talking about $67,500 in that range for all employees across the entire city.
And that is for the 2%?
That's for 2%. I'm sorry, each percentage is $67,500. $115,756 is what it would cost the entire city for a 2% increase. And then in Exhibit 2B, it's broken out what it would look like instead of a percentage basis, but rather than a dollar amount. And so per $100 for general fund, you have $10,000 in total cost. Per $100 for Parks and Recreation, you have about $1,200. And then you have per $100 for utilities, $3,300. And per $100 for other funds, $840. So per $100 for across all employees, $15,500. And then a $500 would be $77,000.
Mr. Kaiser.
Mr. Crane, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but we're talking about having this excess versus our budget. Do your department managers feel confident that they're doing okay with the budget they have today? Or are there areas that we need to calculate for?
No, I think, our biggest concern is we got quite a few big grant projects coming up that strain cash flow until you get reimbursements on some of them. So we'll have to manage that, but really probably the tightest one we have, and this is historical and across most cities, the general fund's usually the tightest one that you gotta figure that one out. Usually the other funds are usually doing pretty good, and I'd say that's the case here.
But your water department, your parks department, they're saying, hey, we're able to maintain with the current budget that we have, like police, fire.
Under current circumstances, yeah.
I got a question.
All right, Mr. Brubaker.
This is pretty minor, and maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but I was looking at the overtime column where it's stayed stagnant throughout the salary increases. If your salary increases went up 2 or 4%, either you would have to work less overtime to keep it there. Otherwise, wouldn't that increase a little bit? I mean, it wouldn't be much. It'd be about a couple thousand or so.
And yeah, I didn't factor that in, and it will probably, we have, right now, you can see that we are well over that budgeted amount in fire department already in overtime for the year. And then traditionally, we have been below budget on the overtime on other departments. So it would probably be, we would expect overtime to increase by 2%, but those are budgeted numbers anyway. It's not like we shut down overtime when we hit the budget, so
Right.
we just go with the budget. Yes.
So, overtime's not paid into the salary. It's gotta come.
Right.
Now we can talk about
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying why you increase
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't know if you all had a plan to, decrease the number of overtime hours or.
We don't, but specifically in the fire department, we've had a little bit of turnover, but I think they've just hired them up. But then again, we also have COVID issues that are causing
Sure.
people to work more, cover for more. So it's really fluctuating more than we've seen in years past.
Yeah. And I realize this year is very unusual. It's going to be very challenging going forward, too. It's not going to get any easier.
And I also would say because of those factors and other factors, I probably wouldn't recommend figuring out a way to spend every bit of that 180,000 that we think we might have at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so I know you've got some other parts of expense to go over, so go right ahead.
That's all. I'm going to turn it over to Greg to talk through the health plan changes and that effect on this, because that's going to change budgeted amounts also.
Well, I apologize. It was an oversight on my part, but we didn't get a couple of charts included here in your packet. So I've got hard copies for you that I'll distribute here.
Well, while you're handing that out, I'm looking at the assumptions that you've got, because obviously when you go to the HDHP, you don't know who's going to participate. But I'm assuming by what I'm seeing there with the different numbers is that you're talking about that amount of increased expense in order to wheel this thing out, correct? Depending on the number of people, since we didn't have it before. Okay.
And those might be in your package. I can't remember if we got them or not.
Yeah, they show a 10% participation, a 25, and a 45. So if I'm looking at this, it's saying the HCHP addition, city contributions would be another $18,000. So anyway, Mr. Hodge, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's you notice the number kind of stays the same no matter which whether it's coming from or whether it's 10, 25, or 45%. We're still at about a $49,000 bottom line, and that's because of the difference in the premiums or the contribution rate. So It just depends on if it's coming from the employee or if it's coming from the city. So the only thing that changes is the top two numbers there. But anyway, that's just kind of a guess as to what I think the effect might be. And as you were mentioning before, there's a lot of variables that are going to factor into this. So it's just kind of a crapshoot, and you just kind of have to pick a point and go to come up with the numbers here. So what I handed out to you was two things. Number one, that top page, that's the new benefit summary. So I wish they had actually reversed the two, because Plan 2 is actually our base plan now, and that's the HDHP or the HSA, however you like to refer to it. That's the high deductible health plan. We got the $2,800 individual deductible and $5,600 for family. Max out of pocket is $4,500 and $9,000 respectively. It still remains to be an 80-20 plan. All of our deductibles and copays for prescriptions still remain the same. The difference, of course, as we talked about last week when we met with the brokers, is that until the deductible is met, all costs will be paid by the employee. And that's where the HSA comes into play. So we will be making a contribution to those who want to participate in the HSA, and we'll kind of bounce over to that second sheet that I gave you. And that shows you the contribution rates effective January 1st. So the city each month for each participating employee will be contributing $700 to the health plan. 75 of that will go into their health savings account. So the other 625 will remain in the health trust fund to pay claims and other costs. Family coverage, those contribution rates remain the same as they were in 2020. So moving down to the second chart there, that is the buy-up plan. So that is what is now currently our core plan. So I hope I'm not going to get you confused. But that contribution rate is going to remain at $650 that the city puts in, but the employees will contribute $50 per month to be in that plan. In addition, for family coverage, those rates from the HDHP plan chart up on the top half there are approximately 8 to 9% higher. And that's the difference in those contribution rates between the 650 and the 700. So that's how we came up with that number.
Before you go any further,
Yes, sir.
just a quick question. What do you consider, what percentage subsidization on the employee part is the city in for on that also? I know when we've had consultants, they'll say, well, we're doing about 50% of cost for dependents.
For dependents, we were at one point in time, about 4 years ago when we first had the Austin Peters study done. I think we were at like 72. I believe we're down to like 63 to 65%, somewhere in that range.
Okay, I was just curious.
So we're getting a little closer to where we want to be with that.
Thank you. Oh, well,
No, go ahead. And,
Mr. Kimmons.
Somewhere maybe it was in our packet, I saw that the broker has put together a virtual presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's going to be occurring this Wednesday.
All right, and then I also thought I saw that should I, as an employee, miss that one, I'll be able to get online and see it individually.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, there's an application called Brain Shark. So the brokers have already put that together. It's essentially the same presentation they're going to be giving on Wednesday. just narrated and explaining things like they're going to be doing on Wednesday. So they'll essentially get the exact same information.
I just think that's critical to get the message across to what it is we're accomplishing with this. And I was pleased to see that that's going to happen, and I know that you'll talk it up so that
Yeah, we've covered a lot of turf with the brokers here over the past week, and I think they've done a real good job staying on top of it and putting all this information together for us.
Okay, so now, who had the question, Mr. Kaiser?
I did, I was just wanting to clarify, did you say that the premiums that the employees are paying in 2021 are going to be the same as what they were previous year, except for if they pay the $50 to stay on the old plan?
So if they want to stay on the PPO plan, which is our base plan right now, it's now going to cost them $50.
Versus what they paid last year?
Yes, yeah, last year they didn't pay anything.
And now this year, if they go with the HDHP here, are they paying more for that plan than they were last year?
No,
or-
they would be paying zero.
if I might, this is a great point to interject the money that will go into the from the city as well.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that $75 that we're going to contribute to their health savings account per month.
So if I had 3 kids, in 2021, I was paying $1,079, and now this year I'm going to still be paying $1,079? Or I mean the 400, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, basically 412, yes. So they will continue to pay that.
And I know our consultant's not on, but if the meeting we had last Thursday, if all of those numbers are confirmed on what our plans are going to be going into the next healthcare year, that's going to mean still a $55,000 annual increase over last year with all of this put in. That's like a, 5-point-something% increase.
Yeah.
So we got $55,000 more, even though it's a much less high increase, much less higher increase. It's still going to mean that we're budgeting for approximately $55,000 more in expense to do what you're talking about here.
Yeah. Okay. And the big question there is, what are claims going to do?
Yeah.
And of course, nobody has that crystal ball, so.
Sure. But what they do on expected claims, that's what that number is showing.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, did I muddy the waters enough, or?
No?
I had a question.
Mr. Rubaker?
Maybe a comment, Greg.
Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, one meeting we were in on the HSA contribution by the city, it goes into that employee's account.
Yes.
And it just keeps accumulating. So in 10, 20 years from now, 25 years from now, that's their money, right?
Yes.
And so when they leave, they decide to retire. I mean, to me, this is a really big incentive.
Mm-hmm.
They get to take that money with them.
That's correct.
And, I mean, nothing against my former employer, but I wish we would have had this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm retired now. So. But anyway, I think that's really a huge positive about that plan. And hopefully you all will do a great job of informing the employees of that.
Yes, it's going to be a major change, and it's going to take some education, and all of our employees are going to have to put pencil to paper. I mean, there's just no other way around it. They're going to have to look very seriously at what their claims have been in past years, and basically just do the math and see what's going to be their best benefit.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah. I think what Mr. Brubaker has said is a little overly simplistic. It's not a savings plan. It's a plan that helps you pay your deductible and your health cost out of pocket throughout the year. And, I mean, theoretically, what you're saying is correct. If you choose to pay that out of your own pocket and leave that money in there, it can be a savings plan, but it's not going to draw any interest. But basically what an HSA is for is to pay your deductible when you go to the doctor, to pay your doctor's bill and whatever. And, I mean, we are basically going up in the out-of-pocket maximums for both individual and families. And to offset that, we are offering the $900. It doesn't completely offset the raise in the out-of-pocket. And I've always been told, and I've negotiated a whole lot of health plans over the years, but I've always been told that the crucial is your out-of-pocket maximum, both for individual and family. So, I mean, I don't want anybody to think that we're giving them some great savings plan. We are basically trying to offset with this HSA the rise that they're going to take if they take the plan two. I mean, it's like a $3,750 raise in the family out-of-pocket expense. So, I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of money out a year. But we're going to give them that. We're going to give them $900, and hopefully that they can contribute to that in a tax-free, pre-tax form. If they choose to contribute to their HSA, it'll be pre-tax throughout the year. And
Yes, and then that will,
there's a lot of benefits to it. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about the HSA, just as Mr. Brubaker, but I don't want it to be. I think that saying it's a savings plan is incorrect characterizing of it. So.
Mr. Kaiser.
Yeah, you brought up the tax-free, and so I will bring that up because that was a great point. But is there a limit on what they can contribute or what can be contributed per year?
it's $3,600. I can't remember exactly, but it's right in there.
But there is a limit, but if
Yes.
they don't use it, it rolls over the next year. And
Yes.
keep going.
Yeah. So, theoretically, I mean, if they wanted to contribute $100 a month, in addition to that 75, well, then they would have, $2,100 if they didn't pay any claims out of that at the end of the year. And they could just, keep stacking that up year after year.
Well, I
And it's-
recall one of the points from the consultant also was that, and this kind of goes to your point, if you're in that HCHP program, you may look at where you do your health care, and if you have to have procedures, it may not be the same as just having it go in there and then it coming right back out, because you may be more selective about what you pay for an MRI or a colonoscopy or whatever, where right now we don't have any motivation. There's nothing that is gives them a reason to say, if I go and save $500 on this procedure, then I'll have that much more over in my buildup. So there's some benefit possibly in keeping that balance better than just saying it's same thing is going to just go out from that. But you can't predict, that's obvious. But Mr. Kimmons?
If I could just add to that, one of the advantages of a self-funded health plan is that the employees drive both the cost and the savings as opposed to an insurance company setting it on their loss figures. So it becomes imperative that the employee understands that they need to begin to make decisions as if they own the plan, because they literally do. And we put some measures in here over the years that have helped that wellness care, et cetera. But we need to be serious about it. We need to be serious about finding the best place for the best care, for the best price. They do it on other things, and I'm sure they're going to be able to do it on this, but we want to keep the benefits the best we can, but we have to have their help and commitment to do that.
I kind of like to think of this this plan change as our employees, instead of being plan users, they're now going to be health consumers. So, they're going to have to do shopping, just like, if they go out and shop for, a new vehicle or what have you. It's like, okay, who's got, the best price for the best service? There are some tools available out there. I believe it's on the UMR website where they have a cost estimator. And you can go in and I've messed around with this thing a little bit, but they have probably got upwards of 1,000 different procedures that they have loaded into their database, and you just plug in your zip code and bam, it cranks them out. And it just amazed me that the difference in the cost, Moberly versus Jefferson City versus Columbia.
So you basically are giving us, different estimates of revenue, of expenses and changes in potential expenses that will affect employee compensation, which is benefits plus salary.
Yes.
So at some point, either we have to make a decision on moving forward or not, depending on what we want to do. So I know I asked something about the injection to the healthcare trust in December because I consider that an addition to compensation. Since we didn't raise the cost on the employee, we put $230,000 in, and that went into the benefit compensation. We raised the contribution of the city in July with this particular budget by an amount. I believe that was, you recall what that number was? Annually?
Yep.
Per month?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Per month.
So we have that increase. If you look at those numbers and you look at what a 2% salary increase is, and then I've heard Mr. Crane say many times, 2% when you add the other benefits and all that is like 50% of what your actual increase is, more. So is that the right analogy? I mean, is it?
Yeah, about 30, 35, thereabouts.
Okay, 35, okay. So that's in excess of those numbers. So I don't know, we either have to move something forward or we have to table it or whatever we're comfortable with doing to the next meeting, given the uncertainty with everything. The fact where sales taxes may go back down to or stay or whatever. I'm comfortable with a certain level, which would be that 2% raise. But the rest of you need to decide what you are now or whether you want to hold off. Mr. Crane.
Yeah, Mayor, and I just wanted to clarify that those numbers that Matt gave you earlier did calculate those additional
Sure.
expenses of that 30 to 35%.
But when we talk about a 2 or a 4, we're talking about an actual salary increase of 2%. Right, so it would be,
2% plus the 30 to 35%.
that's the actual number, but you're saying a 2% salary increase, and then the benefit gets changed on top of that. Right.
That's in that number.
Mr. Brubaker.
I just had I guess more of a comment. When I was looking at the general sales tax revenue, and you looked at the first 4 months versus last month, and I took an average, hopefully I did it right, but it actually went down 23%, in 1 month. So that kind of scares me a little bit going forward. Now, with that said, don't take this comment wrong. I want to see the employees get a salary increase of some sort. But with this COVID, I don't know that we're really know for sure going forward that we're going to continue to see the increases that we have. It'll really be interesting whenever we get the income coming in from the Christmas season. To me, that's going to be a really good indicator. And then also, if there's going to be any more stimulus money come out, because I think that really had a major effect on everyone's sales tax, not just Moberly, but everywhere. If people did not get those checks, what were they, about 1,200 or so? I don't think you would have seen the economy doing as well as it has, plus the PP1 loans and everything else that they've tried. So I think, we got a new administration coming in. I'm not sure if we got one going out or not yet, but we do have one going in, I think. But if we can continue at this pace, I averaged the 5 months, I came up with 8.18% increase, which is still good, It's not as good as what some of the other months were, but if we could average that for the year, 8% increase during a COVID type situation, I think that's great. It's a lot better than what I thought. And you and I had some conversations. I really thought you were being way too optimistic on your numbers on the budget. So when you're wrong, you got to admit you're wrong, But it's a lot of unknowns here. But with that said, I would probably go along with Jerry. A 2%, I think we should be able to handle that and not be in jeopardy if all of a sudden our general revenue would go down over the next few months. Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Well, I want to go back to the original discussions of a raise at the beginning of the budget year in July. We were, I agree with a lot of what Mr. Brubaker said. We were really concerned about how the COVID was going to affect the budget, and especially the sales tax and our revenue in general. We were predicting as much as 20%, and then I think we adjusted it down to a 5% decrease, which is a huge chunk of money. That did not occur. But because back then we did not know what the COVID was going to do to us, we agreed that we would not do any raises. We would freeze wages right where they were, and we would take a look at it come November, December, toward the end of the year, and see how our revenue had come along. Well, all of us were surprised with that not only did we not lose 20% or 5%, we actually gained. What was the average over the last 5 months? 16%. I think 16%
for the year.
For those 5 months. I mean, and that amounted to a $181,000 increase on what we thought we were going to get. Now, I want to go back. I'm for holding our feet to the fire on this, and we need to give our people a raise, and we need to go back and give them some kind of a catch-up bonus, or what you want. We called it several different things, but to make up for that time for the last 5 months that they didn't get a raise, and then going forward. So, I mean, we've kicked around a lot of ideas among us, just talking, and I know you guys have kicked around some ideas, but I'm really intrigued with the idea of being able to put money into your HSA. I know we can't do that until the first of the year. So, I mean, and I feel for the people, especially the lower income employees that are facing Christmas, and buying Christmas presents for their family and everything. So I would like to see a catch-up bonus paid in the first paid paycheck in December, and then going forward after the first of the year, either do a 2% or else give a lump sum to start the HSA for the people, and give the option to those people. That gets us, I know that's a hit on the general revenue fund and so through the other funds. I'm not sure how that would break down. But basically, are we talking 130 employees? Somewhere else. So, I mean, make it simple, we're talking $130,000 if we do a $500 bonus for them here in November or 1st of December for Christmas. And then right after the first of the year, we do another 500 and put that in, give them their option of taking that as a HSA, which gets them there completely. And I mean, they could save, they can put 500 in. If they get a $500 check, they're only going to get somewhere in the vicinity of $425 after tax. So,
Well, let me ask this question. When we talk about a 2% annualized raise, Mr. Hodge, the mechanics of that, we're talking about a 2% on an annualized amount. So how do you do that as far as payroll? If you start at, let's say, January, do you take that whole 2% times what their salary would be for the 12 months, and then you pay that equivalent over the next 6 months into the last part of the fiscal year? Is that how you make it up? How the mechanics of that work? Because that is making it up if you pay a whole 2% over the annual amount, and you just pay it. In other words, you're doubling up from January to July. Hang on just a minute.
No, you're fine. I'm just letting you know.
And the amounts there we gave you are the annualized amounts. And
Right, so they would not be going without a raise going back to January because you're gonna get a 2%, just for sake of discussion, annualized salary raise, correct?
I mean, that's one way we could do it, yes.
I mean, that's the way I'm assuming, otherwise you're really not getting a 2% raise.
Are you
Mr. Co-
Are you talking about backing it up to the beginning of the fiscal year?
Yeah, because that's what our salary is from the beginning of the fiscal year to the end. So for fiscal year 2021, your salary's X. If you get a 2% raise, it's going to be 2% times that annualized amount. And if we just pass it for, let's say, effective January 1, then you've got to take that equivalent of 2%, pay that to the employee so that in this fiscal year, they get the equivalent of 2%. That's my thought on it, not half of a year's salary, that kind of thing. That's not something that's impossible, is it? I mean,
I have a question regarding.
well, hang on, I put Mr. Kaiser off, go ahead.
Having listened to Tim's concerns, having listened to your concerns before about we don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 months, what we know is what we have today. According to your document here, a 5% lump sum is like $77,000, right? $500 is
The $500.
Yeah, $500. So here's what I would propose is, we know we're ahead $181,000. Let's give $1,000 one-time adjustment, no percentage raise for the year, a one-time $1,000. The employee can choose whether they want to have that dispersed in December, and they get what was like $850 after taxes, or they can wait till January 1 and put that $1,000 in the HSA tax-free and do that. And that way, we're not concerned about, hey, if all of a sudden sales tax tanks, we're not paying additional salaries, we're not increasing costs to overtime. It's a one-time, and then we'll look in June and look and see the performance, and then work on salaries at that point. That would be my suggestion.
Then you're talking about for the next fiscal year then, as far as,
Yes, I'm saying the $1,000 would be an increase for everybody. It's a flat 1,000.
It wouldn't be an increase.
It'd be a one-time.
It'd be like a
adjustment.
bonus.
I apologize. An adjustment, I think is what we're supposed to
yeah.
say.
The only thing bad with that is that, that doesn't raise your pension, or doesn't
That
raise,
does not, that's one, you get.
I mean, that's the negative side of it, as far as that goes.
Yes, so, but I'm proposing we do a $1,000 one-time adjustment in December or January, let the employee pick, whether it's tax-free or not, and we proceed until June, and then we reevaluate for next year's budget.
So a $1,000 bonus is equivalent of what as far as compared to a salary increase?
It'll cost general fund $100,000 for for a $1,000 per employee. Cost Parks and Rec, you just double the amounts that you have, because I broke out what $500 per employee would be, but
Yeah.
general fund's the
I
one.
know, and a 2% raise is how much?
A 2% raise is going to cost $78,000. So
So basically, you're talking about 4% just in a cash type bonus.
it's like a 3%. Yeah, because our 4% would be 156.
No, Mr. Jeffries, you said that it would affect your pension. They would take the pension money out of that adjustment, wouldn't they?
No, if you get a salary increase, then your pension actually
Well, I
goes
know,
up.
But if we give them a one-time adjustment on their salary of $1,000, as
Yes.
Austin said, they would take pension money out of that, right?
Yes.
And that would be counted just as if it was salary throughout the year.
But your
Yeah.
base does not go
So, I
up.
mean, they're still paying in a certain amount. in
But your
pension's
base,
gonna be-
as of July 1st, is going to be the very same as far as your base on your
I mean,
pension.
normally, I would be against, if I was negotiating a union contract, I'd be against foregoing a percentage raise in lieu of a one-time bonus or adjustment, because you're not compounding that over the years. But in this case, I think it's a smart move to make, because we don't know, as Mr. Brubaker said, we don't know what the future holds. We know right now we can afford to pay, because we've got $181,000 we didn't anticipate having at the end of the year. We can afford to pay a lump sum to the employees. And, I mean, I think they'd be smart if they put that money in the HSA and But that's their option if they, I mean, but I think, and then going forward until July, we maintain status quo on their monthly salaries.
Yeah,
Wages. So
I
I
understand.
think that's a pretty good move. I mean, I don't think long-term it's in the best interest of them to not get the percentage raises. But I do like your idea.
I had a question.
With the administration, the unknowns about the COVID right now, a one-time, we're not threatening the budget of the future. We know we've got the money now. I say
Okay,
we do that.
Mr. Burbaker.
Now, to be honest, I could go 2% or the one-time adjustment. I'm okay with either one, but obviously those people making less money, the $1,000 would be great for them versus those people that have jobs, you know, they're fortunate enough to have jobs that are paying much, much higher salaries. They're going to be the ones that are going to get shortchanged on this. But I could go, personally, I could go with either one.
Mr. Kimmons, you've sat silent.
Well, the thing I like about it is that it speaks to both concerns that I've heard from all the council. And that is, one, that we preserve the budget for the year, all right? But we also recognize that our most valuable asset needs to have a taste. And Mr. Kaiser's idea really fits my thinking
Okay.
on that. And I'm in complete agreement.
Okay. So as far as getting to the choices about putting it into the HDHP or not, or whatever, is that going to meet the sniff test with the IRS? I mean, we have problems with any of that as far as,
I don't think so. We'll definitely check before we get involved in that. I mean, it'd obviously be voluntary, whatever the employee would do.
I would think you would still have to count that as earned income.
No, it is. It goes on the W-2.
So they're still going to be taxed on it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if they choose to put it in the HSA, it's pre-tax, so they don't get taxed on it.
it's not an
That's the
HSA,
beauty
just
of
for the
it.
technical one.
Yeah. Say what?
It's not an HSA.
What's the new
We're
CDC
creating
called?
it.
It's not called an HSA. What's it, HDHP? I mean, the consultant said it's not an HSA, that's an ancient, that's a different model.
Oh, no, he was talking about FSA,
Okay,
Yeah.
HSA.
Yeah,
okay.
that's-
I just want to make sure we don't get fouled up here on,
Spinning
Yeah, I
in.
mean, but HSAs that we are going to establish January 1st for the employees, that is pre-tax, right? I mean, so it's not taxed.
okay,
So-
all right. So everybody's,
Pre-tax for an adjustment like this?
Mr. Mayor, there's another consideration on the bonus issue. That's generally not allowed for government entities at the state and local level to pay bonuses. The Missouri State Auditor's Office has said that that's unconstitutional. The Constitution says you cannot give money for past performance to government employees. So we're going to have to take another look at that. But maybe,
what was
Is that the
determined?
reason that when we were talking about it in June, is that the reason we were calling it a adjustment? And you may not have been involved in that.
Yeah,
well, I just know that we're going to have to take a look at what the language is that we're using to describe whatever additional compensation you might want to pay that's not in the form of wages, because there's a constitutional prohibition. So I can,
Can we not contribute to a Christmas fund and like we do for our dinner or whatever instead of gifts?
cannot pay bonuses for past work,
Period.
which is what you're talking about.
So what I'm.
Especially not a religious
This change,
holiday.
the
Mr. Just hang on, I'll get to you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be respectful of.
I got it.
All right, so my intention here is that in lieu of a 2% raise from today, or January 1 until June 30th, our intention is to do a one-time adjustment ahead, as opposed to compensating for the past, we're doing an adjustment in lieu of a raise going forward. That's what I'm proposing. Does that help you?
I guess I'm not really tracking what you're proposing. You're
It's
proposing
not,
a
because
raise.
it's a one-time adjustment as opposed to $1,000 raise. $1,000 raise would go forward
Sorry,
from that
$1,000
point.
adjustment in lieu of a raise. is what
For a
I'm saying.
one-year period, people receive increased
Between now
wages.
and until now and the end of the budget. Instead of us giving a raise from now until the end of the budget, I'm
So
saying.
long as it's
instead-
prospective and not retrospective.
That's what I'm proposing.
Well, we've got a little
Prospective.
time.
I'm just clarifying for the record, I'm proposing prospective.
One-time salary
Would be
adjustment.
paid out.
No, it's paid up front, but it's for their, instead of us giving a 2% raise between January 1 and June 30th,
Okay.
we're giving a one-time salary adjustment.
Can we call it a future pandemic risk bonus?
And we're not going to call it a bonus.
I think you,
Well, it's not for the past, it's for the future.
Randall needs to do
That's what
some
bonuses
research.
are for.
Okay, well, I think everybody's in agreement for moving it forward, so we'll move it forward and see what has to be crafted there and hope that we can make it work. And then it'll come up the next meeting if it can be put in
There's
forward.
an old TV sitcom that Cotter Country or something like that, and the mayor always says, handle it, handle it, handle it. So we want you to handle that, Randall.
Okay,
I found it interesting, you sat there and watched us talk about this for 15 minutes before you brought that to our attention.
You want to see how short
Do
it
you need a motion or anything for this, or is it just?
no, it's a work session, so if everyone's okay, we'll move that forward unless there's opposition to moving it forward.
And that's $1,000.
$1,000, yeah, one time.
And they will have the option of deferring it until after
That's
the
what-
first of the year so that they can go into the HSA.
Okay, so we do not have closed session, so that is the end of the work session agenda. Is there any other items to go on the work session, come in front of the council for the work session?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded. All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
Thank you.